players are confident of themselves, their ability, and they're not worried about looking at their pipeline or their funnel and killing opportunities that are going nowhere.
So today we are interviewing Nicola. She's an impressive woman in the SaaS space, but most importantly, a strong and experienced sales leader who has moved from director to becoming a mother to now VP of sales for 3 years and 4 months at an innovative company such as Atchison. So as Nicola has had an interesting and inspiring path, it's only fair to start by asking, what's your philosophy to being a VP and how has your life affected that, Nicola?
Wow, that is such a good question. And I have to be honest, Georgina, you have me rocked. Okay, so my philosophy for life, I think anyone that knows me, will tell you I live by sayings, and I'm always throwing sayings out there. So probably the two that I live by at the moment are si ventus non est remiga, which means if there's no wind, row. So, wherever you go, it might not be perfect at the outset and there might not be a lot happening, but you're there for a reason. So it's important to pick up the oars and get rowing. And the other one is it's tied very closely to being a mother. And sometimes, I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm put in situations in my role where things may be high stakes, or you may be dealing with people like, you think, wow, I'm just a little kid from, Newcastle at the end of the day. And you're thinking, oh, I'm dealing with these really impressive people. And I'll think, never worried, never scared. And I go in every exchange going, never worried, never scared, because at the end of the day, I'm here for my family. So it doesn't really matter too much what happens to me. I'm there to do a job, do my best for my little boy.
Oh, that's great. I think it's really lovely, especially when we're speaking to sales leaders, because obviously you're always so busy and hectic and things like that. There are actually people behind these roles that are having their why and their motive to be sort of bigger picture ideas, and a lot of the time it's linked to personal attributes as well. Okay, great. So we'll now move on to our main theme of the interview, because we really wanted to dig in rep development and how you do that as a sales leader. So to you, what defines an A player?
Okay, so this is one I've had to, I've reviewed continually throughout my career. And I think an A player for me right now is somebody I look at and think, I used to think 90-10, and at the moment I think 80-20, because the last 2 years or so, with the whole COVID thing, I've had to sort of switch my standards up a little bit, because everybody's had a tough time. So it's no longer, you're sitting in front of people and they're saying, hey, I brought in 200-300% of my quota. I'm finding that everybody had a tough time. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking for, the top of the deck, maybe the 10 or 20% of individuals that have an 80 or 90% chance of, doing their quota and more. That's what I'm looking for. That's how I sort of quantify that, that sort of A player. There are all sorts of personal attributes that go into that, and there are all sorts of, I'm looking at their reputation, I'm looking at their track record, I'm thinking about the highlight reel, but it's that 80-90% of people that will do, I'm looking for the 10-20% of people that are going to probably do 80-90% of my revenue overall.
Okay, great. I think that's great that you took into consideration the pandemic as well, because I think obviously it's sort of something that can't go unnoticed, and it changed people and also probably the way they act in their careers. So that's great. So what metric do you then use to sort of measure the success in your A reps or in your reps in general?
Yeah, so when someone's in post, absolutely, we're looking at numbers. I'm getting to, end of 30, 60, 90 days, and I'm looking at behaviors. But past that point, I'm starting to look at their run rate. So I'm starting to look at the opportunities that they're generating. I'm starting, even more importantly, to look at the opportunities that they're killing quickly. I think that's a huge differentiator in A players versus B players. A players are confident of themselves, their ability to, generate their own luck, pick up the oars. And they're not worried about looking at their pipeline or their funnel and killing opportunities that are going nowhere. So I'm looking to see the volume of funnel additions in the early days, but then I'm looking to see how quickly that they're killing those opportunities that aren't going to go anywhere. And then, as you come towards 6, 9, 12 months, you're looking at counting. I work for an American company, so I'm counting dollars. I'm looking at that close.
Oh, amazing. So you sort of judge the success of a rep through every part of their pipeline and through,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, it would be, I look after a range of software solutions. So some of those products will have a really short deal cycle. They're more transactional. And for those, I may be looking more quickly at dollars, whereas others, I have some deal cycles that predate me in the company, 6,
wow.
7 years long. Yeah. So, on those sorts of products, I need to look more at behaviors, because if I'm too aggressive and I just count dollars, I could be managing the wrong people out of the door.
Yeah, I guess you have to take each bit of sort of the 4 levers into account. Because if not, if you're dealing with different deals all the time, then I guess you have to sort of treat each rep as an individual as well, which is really important. So how do you then compare a B player to an A player?
Yeah, so I think to a degree it's innate, and we can, get into the whole nature nurture thing and look at, people's experiences throughout their career and even through their childhood. So I do think some of it is innate. There are parts of it though that are absolutely coachable and teachable. I think one thing or a few things that set an A player apart is they almost create their own microeconomy at work. Okay. They don't care about any issues, any challenges. They're not telling you the reasons they can't sell. They're out there and they're thinking, okay, that person over there did it. Why not me? I can do that. And they're out there, building funnel and navigating any challenges as they go, but they're not bogged down in all of that. They're really sort of chasing their own success. I think the other thing is that A players are perpetual students. So, you talk to them and, they're on holiday, they're on the beach, they're reading a sales book, they're reading a sales leadership book, they're reading a marketing book, they're reading something like the Lean Startup. They never stop learning, and they don't limit that learning just to sales. They're taking it, like I said, across into product, into marketing. They want to touch every piece of the puzzle so they can sit in front of their prospects as a sort of a more rounded individual and a more valued business resource.
Yeah, I definitely think from speaking to a lot of sales leaders that it's like a mixture of having a strong sort of sense of self, but it's also people that, like you said, like they're just learning all the time, but not even just in sales. Like it's not just a sales book, but it's a psychology book or it's sort of anything, because at the end of the day, you're talking to people. So the more you know about the world and people, I feel like the more interesting conversation it's going to be, and also probably just the better it's going to go.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the best salespeople I've had around me, and mentors I've picked up earlier in my career, they've all been curious. They've all been interested. They all ask phenomenal questions, like like your question at the outset there, where I was like, "Oh, you have me rocked."
Yeah.
I get so excited when I'm interviewing someone and they come to me with a full deck of awkward questions.
Yeah.
I enjoy that, and it's a surefire for me to put that person through to the next stage of the interview. So yeah, questions, thirst for knowledge, learning. I think that as well, the best salespeople really want to understand their prospect's business because they're in there for the long haul.
Yeah.
And they have less of a transactional approach to things and more sort of building that sort of longer term relationship and really
Yeah.
maxing out an account while helping a customer to address several business challenges or pains.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is actually listening to your customer a lot of the time as well, instead of just trying to, I feel like in sales, if you see the person just trying to work for what they want out of the outcome, then you can see straight through it. So it's about developing good people, talking to good people.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to the questioning piece, asking great questions, listening, tailoring your value prop around that. And
Yeah.
again, if there's not a fit, not being afraid to say to the customer, hey, I've enjoyed our conversation, but I just don't think we can help you. But
Yeah.
I'm a company that can, or I know somebody else that can.
Yeah.
I think that, good people aren't afraid to walk away because they know, they'll always be putting more into their funnel.
Yeah. So you just talked about sort of the characteristics that make an A player. How do you make that coachable? Because obviously you said the sort of nature nurture argument, but is there a way you infiltrate that into your reps?
Yeah, I think the first thing is it isn't a question of attitude. So one thing I'm really keen on at interview is to understand somebody's why. I have a full deck of whys, so for me that there isn't enough time in the day. But asking those questions at interview, asking why someone's in sales, how did they find themselves in sales? I find so many people are accidental salespeople, and I am. It's fine, as long as you work out why you love it when you get here. So is it coachable? Is it coachable? I think the attitude and the desire to win, perhaps not so coachable, but there are all of the pieces of the puzzle in role, like prospecting, where to go, where to target, which verticals you may have success in. Success leaves clues. So I'm a big one for if somebody's doing well, okay, grabbing some time with them, making them a mentor, finding out what happened and replicating that. So I think a lot of it is coachable. And also, I'm really lucky that I have a great team in that they are always happy to share knowledge. We're a high performing team. I'm not afraid to admit it. But
No, definitely admit it.
I know. But, yes, the team are great in terms of, we have some people that are fantastic hunters. We have some people that are amazing closers. We have some people that have amazing, deep, long-standing relationships with their customers. So we have a great blend across the team, and there's very much like a peer-to-peer sort of learning approach within the team. We have some people, that have been with the business forever and understand how to get a deal unlocked and through a process. So I think all of those components are very coachable. But the attitude piece is one that really I feel you have to be looking out for at interview.
Okay. So you've just mentioned there that you have a strong team and sort of a good team ethos, and that's what helps with development. But how, in that sort of situation, then how do you usually point out individual weaknesses and whether it's the team as a whole or the interaction as a whole?
So how do I understand whether something's team or individual?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we've had I think we've seen both as we've had the challenge of COVID over the last couple of years. We've had to really dig into how we sell and be agile and make some adjustments in our approach. Gone are the days of always hopping on a flight or, excuse me, hopping on a train. And we've had to turn our attention more towards digital and remote channels.
Mhm.
And with that came a whole deck of new weaknesses for us to overcome. So I have, excuse me. So I'll have, some situations where you may have one individual who's struggling, and you can see that very easily. You can see that in their results. You can see that in their conversion. You can see it in their funnel additions. You can see it in their funnel fallout. So having the correct data behind all of those decisions, I think is hugely important because it stops you as well having that sort of projection, be it positively or negatively. You always need to be working with data when you're making calls on somebody's performance. At a team level, as I've said, while we were readjusting to a new way of selling, I think the team overall took a bit of a dip. And I don't think that was down just to the economy. It was while we were building that new skill set of, digital prospecting, remote meetings, and so on and so on. So I think that, again, it's having data, looking at trends across, individuals, products, verticals, geographies. And the key thing is data to drive those decisions fairly.
Yeah. Great, that's great. So I'm just going to move on to our final question now. So if you were in a room with the best sales leaders, whether that was of all time or right now, what would you ask them? What would you want to know?
Oh, how many questions am I allowed? So first of all, I would ask them, have they ever been in a situation where it all went smash? And what was their road to recovery? What did that look like? How long did it take? What did they do? How did they take people with them? So that's one. Recovery. I think resilience is so important in sales. You can be riding high, and then midweek, anything can happen to your funnel. So that's one. And I think the other thing I would ask them is to give me their top 3 questions of all time.
Okay,
Questions,
great,
questions.
great. Okay, well, thank you so much, Nicola. That's really going to benefit the community, and it's been great speaking to you about your experience and what you've learned along the years. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed the conversation.